I got nothing. I got nothing to do. Marvin, what have you been up to?
Why are you talking to me? I'm your evil twin.
Well, it's not like there's really anyone else to talk to.
Alright, fair. I mean, I guess I've been watching a lot of Big Brother recently.
Big Brother, huh? Say, isn't season 22 supposed to happen this summer?
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I think it's gonna be another All-Star season.
All-Stars, you say? Big Brother 22 is set to come out later this summer, but with COVID-19, it might be delayed a few weeks. But when you think about it, Big Brother is a show that could still happen because it's literally about 16 people being quarantined with each other. I always look for the brighter side of things, and the best thing about it most likely being delayed is that it gives its fan base longer to think and speculate about what the season will be like. Now, like every season, there's a large sum of people that think the upcoming season will be an All-Stars, and because only 1 out of 21 seasons have been an All-Stars season, those people have been wrong about 19 times. But Big Brother host Julie Chen has laid some serious hints about a possible All-Stars season. I mean, it's been well over a decade since the last one, so now's a great time. She posted several pictures on Instagram of her in the BB's diary room, dressed up as past house guests that competed in the seasons that followed the last All-Stars season, so post-season 7. And I don't know, that sounds pretty cool. So without further ado, here are my picks for a possible All-Star season. Shane was a competition beast back in 2012, and he proved both his physical and strategic salt by making it to the final 5. This is the ideal position for a returning house guest, as normally low-ranking jurors, let alone pre-jurors, would never return in a later season, and I don't know, I mean, sometimes people that make it to Final 3 or Final 2 but don't win, like in the case of Paul Abrahamian, come back in a later season, but the thing about that is Paul came back in a twist, where it wasn't set in stone that he would have joined the season anyway. No offense to the rest of the females on the BB14 cast, but with the exception of Brittany Haynes and Danielle Murphy, Jen was the only female contestant that actually played the game. Jody, Kara, and JoJo were immediately knocked off one by one in the pre-jury, and Janelle was targeted like right after she was even eligible to play. This season was the coach's season, that's why there were 4 returning house guests. Ashley was just kind of a floater as well. Jen was one of the only females that made big moves, and she aligned herself with Dan Giesling and Frank Udy, which was very risky, and she also made it to the final 5. I also want to mention that you might think, oh, but the fact that she was female doesn't matter. Well, I mean, and in any other situation, it would not, but in this case, yes, it does, because how I'm basing this is 1 male and 1 female cast member from the past 8 seasons makes 16 house guests. So I was just trying to find, so it'd be an even number, 1 male house guest and 1 female house guest from each season. And I just thought that Jen was the most eligible female contestant to return to the game again. Big Brother 15 had an insanely racist and offensive cast, but luckily that herd was thinned very quickly, and what remained were the less hostile contenders. I was definitely considering McCrae Olsen or Judd Doherty because they both played amazing games but never won, and they made it really far. But Howard, who was actually evicted pre-jury, kind of contradicting what I said 2 spots earlier, Howard could have easily also been with that group of people. He was only targeted because he was an original member of the Moving Company Alliance, which fell apart week 2 after they all voted their leader out. And he also aligned himself with Candace Stewart, who for some reason was a big target in the house. Howard was a good player, and he was also a great person. I was shocked that he would go out so quickly because I saw him making it really far. He was just a victim of circumstance, and that really makes me want to see him play again. Another great player that went out too early, Helen, really cracked the whip, and she was a ringleader of a big alliance and was sort of the poster child of the light side of the house. She's really nice, and she kind of seemed to go after all the racists and bad people. The thing that got her out quickly was that she was a threat, and she was one of the older house guests, and she had this youthful yet wise side about her, and I could easily see her lead another troop of returning house guests into battle, and also literally almost every other woman on the cast of BB15 was extremely offensive or was associated with someone that was, so it's kind of slim pickings anyway. Zach is just a fun house guest to watch. He's not necessarily a big player, but he somehow managed to evade eviction almost every week, and this guy was on the block like almost every week. The other reason it would be great to see him on an All-Star season is that he's a classic stereotype. A stereotype that I love of the guy that comes in super tough and not wanting to make any friends, and then he ends up with a close ally that he literally follows to the end. I always love seeing that on a season. It's very fun to watch. This is definitely seen in Big Brother Canada with Peter Brown, and Zach, as first season of Canada, Big Brother Canada, I should specify. Zach is almost literally the American version of the antisocial picky eater Peter Brown. Just a little side tangent. Peter Brown is by far like my favorite Big Brother Canada house guest of all time, and I've only seen season 1, but that's pretty much all I need to know. Joey Van Pelt was first evicted in her season. You might be wondering why on earth I would want to see her on an All-Star season if I barely saw her at all on her own season. Well, I believe, as do many others, that she could have stayed longer if she kept her mouth shut about the all-girls alliance she formed. And she could have not done that whole pretending to be a man and harassing all the other house guests in an attempt to keep her safe thing. Normally house guests go a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when they see their games coming to an end, but normally those things, they do at least have a shred of hope that they'll work, and not just something crazy, outrageous, irrational like that. Johnny Mac is one of my all-time favorite Big Brother house guests. Actually, BB17 is just all around my favorite season of Big Brother. Johnny Mac is crazy. He's actually kind of annoying from an objective standpoint, at least, but he's also a better player than most people believe. Think of everything he won and did in BB17. He won several vetoes, some of them consecutively. He got evicted during jury but competed in the battle back, which he won, and then he aligned himself with the right people and made it to the final 4. If he had made it to finale night, instead of being, backstabbed or whatever, I think he could have possibly won the entire show, and that's kind of bait for an All-Star season. As much as I'd want to see Vanessa Russo in an All-Star season, I know that she would go out right away. I mean, she revealed to the whole world that she was a poker player, and once you spill tea like that out, you can bet your britches that if you go on another season, everyone's gonna go after you. Shelly was basically the queen of Big Brother 17 until she was finally dethroned by week 1 of the jury phase. She was basically like this season's Helen Kim, and that's why I'd love to see both of them in an All-Star season. They would work, you'd have to, wonder, would they work together to possibly make one of the greatest and most successful all-girls alliances ever seen? Or would they be on opposite sides, constantly at a two-way struggle for power like we see in BB20? Corey was a surprising underdog. I thought he'd go up pretty early in the jury, or even pre-jury, but I was a fool to think so, because he was in a showmance with the woman that would eventually win BB18, Nicole Franzel. He was also very surprisingly smart given his jock stereotype, and if we could possibly have another bit with him talking about Harry Potter in his sleep, I definitely want him on an All-Star season. Not gonna lie, I had a bit of a celebrity crush on Bridget. Not a serious one. I mean, typically I see celebrity crushes as pointless. They're normally twice as old as you when you're a kid, and just try sliding into their DMs, okay? Just try. Anyways, I have this weird theory with Bridget. Going back to BB14, Mike Boogie came back and took Frank Udy under his wing, making an unbreakable bond. And then when Frank Udy came back to BB18 in a similar position as Boogie from BB14, he took Bridget under his wing and made her a pretty solid player. She got herself out of many a tough situation, and I'd want to see who she takes under her wing if she were to return. There's always an older person on a season of Big Brother, and they either do terribly or really well. For the latter, take the examples of Cliff Hogg III from Big Brother 21, or Jerry McDonald from Big Brother 10, or I guess Kevin from Big Brother 19. This guy didn't make as many moves as the other two men I mentioned, but he did do a few things to rock the boat on his season. For one, he took the $5,000 temptation that let Paul Abrahamian back into the house. I mean, Kevin's a really nice guy, and he made it to Final 4 in his season, so I'd like to see if he could beat his record. Maybe Alex from Big Brother 19 would be a better fit than Dom, but Dom would be way more interesting to watch. You see, Alex's great playing moves actually got her to the Final 5, but I'd go as far to say that Dominique was an excellent player too, and she was evicted pre-jury. She can credit her early demise to calling Paul a snake behind his back, which he did not take very lightly, and, that was it for her, but I mean, to be fair, he was kind of a snake, though, especially in his second season. He was fine in season 18, though. Sorry. I do seriously believe that Dom had the potential to make it far, so it'd be great to give her a second chance. Scotty could have easily won Big Brother 20. People that resembled him, like Ian Terry and Steve Moses, had won in the past, so why couldn't he? Well, he was framed for trying to lie about keeping another house guest's ally in the past eviction, which he did. He voted to keep Rockstar, but another house guest also said so it caused some confusion. Another person, a different person, told the current head of household that Scotty had it bad for that HOH's showmance. Yeesh. Scotty proved his see what I did there, by winning the battle back after his eviction, but he was just sent packing right after. I think someone like him would really want redemption bad. Sam was always persecuted in her season, but alas, she was also sort of a hit with the house. I mean, there's always a bigger fish to fry anyways. Ultimately, she was a good person and occasionally floated between alliances. Now, some people are under the impression that floating is always bad, but Sam did just that, and she made it to Final 5. So that's gotta say something, right? I mean, not even kidding. I think if Sam comes back, she's already made a trustworthy friend of herself, and I really think she could win an All-Star season. Once again, another pre-jury house guest that had way more potential than what his placement let on. Going into Big Brother 21, I honestly thought that Ovi was going to win, and for the first few episodes, I was proven correct. He was doing pretty well. However, eventually his paranoia got to him, and he kind of made a threat of himself, but deep down, he was a natural-born leader, and an All-Star season is all about second chances, right? Kat has way more conspiring witches to bust in an all-star season. And ultimately, she was just a fun house guest to watch during Big Brother 21. I could see her teaming up with Helen or Shelly or both, and I think she would be a real asset to the hypothetical all-girls alliance I think could possibly happen with all the house guests I hypothetically think should and could be on Big Brother 22 under the hypothetical notion that it would be an all-star season. So Marvin, what do you think about my picks?
I thought they were pretty solid, Zorba. Now remember, to all the people watching at home, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
What are you doing,
See ya.
Marvin? That's my line!